Hi everybody, Matt here from Matt Likes Comics. On the date of this recording, I had just gone to Ottawa Comiccon on the weekend, and what I want to do today is show you some of the books that I got. I'm probably going to, depending on the length of how this video goes, this may end up being in two parts. We'll see, but most likely it'll be one. So let us begin and see what kind of stuff I was able to get this weekend. It was a very fruitful weekend. There were a lot of vendors that I don't see on a regular basis, that I only see once a year when they're here in Ottawa for the big show. And those are the vendors that I tend to concentrate on when that happens, due to the fact that most of the local guys are at a lot of the other shows I go to. Excuse me. So the I did post a video of what I did see a bit at Ottawa Comic Con a little earlier. I didn't do a lot of filming at the show because my hand was really hurting, and it was really hard to hold up the camera for a period of time during during a lot of the actual show. It So I didn't get as much footage as I would have liked, and once I edited it down a little bit, it was even less. So, well, what I did get is, as I said, should be available by the time this video, of course, is aired. So, let us begin. This is Legends number one. As everybody knows, it's the first appearance of Amanda Waller. I got a Canadian price variant for $8. This was one book I couldn't get a discount on. And I will admit, Alan, the comic collector geek, found this book for me. So we went with that. Yeah. Next up, I bought a couple of romance books because they were there. They were being sold cheap, and I've begun to get an appreciation for romance. This is Falling in Love 56. It used to be in somebody's collection by the obvious name that has been blacked out by somebody else. So it used to be part of we always joke and call it a pedigree. But see the lady on the horse? She's apparently the star of the book, and she's like, yes, I like him very much. Why hide it? Because the blonde girl, I think, likes the same guy. You know, the eternal triangle. Here we have Falling in Love 140, which is close to the end of the run. Next up, we have Betty and Veronica, Friends Forever Christmas Party. This book I bought off of Brianna June, who I did an interview with. She did some work on the interiors in the Betty and Veronica book. Next up is the Star Trek book that I got as a freebie for being a VIP. This next book is one that I remember reading as a kid and forgot about its existence the whole time while I was trying to put together as all the Supergirl books I could. Then I saw it and remembered, oh yeah, I don't have this one. This is Super Friends 37. The story is Supergirl's basically jealous because everywhere they go, her cousin and his buddies, like Aquaman and Batman, the Super Friends, are getting all the attention everywhere they go, even the Wonder Twins. And she's jealous because in some cases she did the work before the rest shows up, and the rest are getting credit for it. So she's acting like a little petty, jealous person in this book, but the fact is, I love Supergirl and everything she's been in, so I had to pick this one up. Next up, I've got a few Superman books that I was missing from my collection. Most of these are late silver, early bronze. We've got Superman 221, where Superman becomes a larger person. Then I've got Superman. This is a giant, which is Superman's Greatest Battles, and they're basically, it's a reprint book. It's a 80-page giant, but you know, those are hard to find. So anytime I can get my hands on an 80-page giant, I am happy to get it. Here's another 80-page Superman giant. This is 222. This one is his secret family, like the Sons of Superman, the Sweetheart Clark Kent Forgot, all those. Again, all reprints. Superman's Lost Brother. I'm pretty sure that's the Mon-El story. Sure looks like Mon-El. So here we have Superman 236. My apology. Lois is in hell. Actual hell, not a made up hell that, people create their own problems in. I'm really looking forward to reading this one. This is one I can honestly say I don't think I've ever read, and whenever that comes across, whether because I've read a lot more comics than I've ever owned, so when I come across one that I'm pretty sure I've never read, I get a little more excited than usual. Here we go is Superman 255. It's called The Sun, as in S-U-N, of Superman. And you can see that the sun is coming down. Pardon me, I had to do a quick pause due to technical difficulties. This machine isn't working properly at times. Anyway, now, the next two books I'm going to show you from Superman are from, I don't know if everybody is familiar with the original run once Neil Adams and Denny O'Neil took over the book when they were trying to depower Superman and stuff. But it was known as the Saga of the Sand Superman. This is one of my favorite ever stories from Superman. It is a great story. One day I'm actually going to do a video on it. I think everybody should read it because it is O'Neil and Adams just after they did the Green Arrow, and while they were doing Batman. And this is like Adams and O'Neil. Like Adams did all the covers. Kurt Swan did all the interior art, of course, but Adams had contributed ideas to this run. So it's just great, basically. Yeah, so read the Saga of the Sand Superman if you can. This here is issue 240, which is the third last book in the thing. It goes about 6 or 7 issues, because there's a small skip in the story because they do one story that involves a fifth dimensional character, and then there's a Superman giant in the middle of it, which is, as we all know, reprints usually. So it's 6 or 7 issues over 8 or 9 months. I'm not exactly sure how many, but it's the one that starts with the number 1. He's bursting the kryptonite chains, kryptonite no more, because the Sandman enters right at the end of that book. And here is the second last one of the run. This is 241, and you can see that Superman is being dragged by yet another creature. Though the last 3, particularly the last 3 issues of this run, are the best, because, like I said, I'm going to do a full video about this story at some point, because it's a story that everybody should read. If you want to understand Bronze Age Superman, if you want to understand what Denny O'Neil was trying to do, it's one of his best stories ever. And again, a lot of people don't know it because they concentrate on getting that one book, and then they skip the rest of the Denny O'Neil run. And trust me, you shouldn't. Anyway, here is Superman 249. It's the first appearance of Terra Man. Terra Man was a villain that frequently clashed with Superman in the mid to late 70s. he finally stopped. He hasn't really been used since Crisis, but for a period in the 70s, in the 70s, he was used a lot, and he was actually quite an interesting villain that Superman had a tough time defeating. Next up, we have Saga of the Swamp Thing 21. It is the second Alan Moore story, and I had just looked up what it was, and I'm forgetting. So let's take a quick look at Overstreet, because I know I saw it in there. Swamp Thing. Sweet Tooth Swamp Thing. It was okay. This book, 21, introduces the new origin of the Swamp Thing. And therefore, with Alan Moore as the writer now, this is the second issue Alan Moore did. They decided to change the origin story, and sure enough, it's going to be. I haven't read it yet. I'm looking forward to this because anything Alan Moore has done, I've been a huge fan. Next up, I just picked up a book because we're going to do a book club about this soon. By the time this video airs, we've already done the book club. But this is a facsimile edition of Wonder Woman 1. And I'm going to have some fun with it. Okay, next up is Jimmy Olsen, 83. In it, he's shrunk somebody. Apparently, it's his Kryptonese double. It's very weird how it seems that in Kandor, there seems to be somebody who looks like everybody outside of Earth. There's a duplicate Lois Lane who's married to Van Zee. And now Van Zee, is a cousin of Kal-El, so he looks a lot like Kal-El. And of course, there's Leslie who looked a lot like Supergirl. It seems as if everybody had a doppelganger in Kandor, which I found very strange. Next book, it surprises the heck out of me because I never realized I never owned one from this title. This is Showcase number 98, which is the third appearance of Power Girl in the title, and the last one, I believe, of her 70s solo stuff. I'm a huge Power Girl fan. So, but what amazed me is I've had no issues of Showcase, and I thought I did, but turns out all the debut books I have are Brave and the Bold ones. So I'm surprised myself. Here we have another Jimmy Olsen, and this Jimmy Olsen is a fun one. This is Jimmy Olsen 99, where he imitates various members of the Legion of Superheroes. They got him as Lightning Lad, Sun Boy, and Element Lad. And what I find amusing is that both Sun Boy and Lightning Lad in real life are redheads, so they actually look pretty close. Element Lad naturally was a blonde, but Jimmy is still being used as him in the story. I read this years ago, but my memory about it is a little sketchy, so I'm looking forward to rereading it and having the memory boost. Speaking of Element Lad, here's his first appearance, Adventure Comics 307. As you can see, he's got a big question mark because he was known as Mystery Lad. He was trying to hide his powers from the raiders that destroyed his planet. You'll read the story, and you'll get all the details. But it's one of the more interesting origins of a member of the Legion of Superheroes that's there. And the fact that he was trying to hide everything makes it even more interesting. Next up, I have Adventure Comics 308, which is the debut of yet another member of the Legion. This one was Lightning Lass, the twin sister of Lightning Lad. There's also a Superboy story in this, which There were Superboy stories still in the Legion until about issue, I want to say 340, 339, perhaps. Because I remember during the Starfinger one, which was in the 330s, there was still backup stories of Superboy, although they were reprints. So there was a bit long later. This is Adventure Comics 316. Ultra Boy goes rogue and is kicked out of the Legion, and then they bring him back. Of particular note, if you take a look, this is where they get the picture for the letters page, the Legion Outpost, in future issues. See that ring of heroes up at the top? That is the ring they use in the Legion Outpost off this Kurt Swan cover. Now, keeping with the first appearance theme, I managed for Adventure Comics to get the first appearance of Dream Girl. Dream Girl, of course, joined the team under false pretenses and then left after this issue and didn't rejoin the Legion until Adventure 351 with Starboy, who she was dating at the time. I also got Adventure Comics 323, another Element Lad cover. And this is the 8 impossible missions. Basically, they're trying to decide who is going to become the leader of the Legion, and Proddy's going to make the decision based on how they handle certain tasks in this book. No surprise on who wins when you get there. This one here is Adventure Comics 324. It's the first appearance of the heroes of Lalor. People like Duplicate Boy and Evello Lad and Gas Girl. Sorry, I'm a little childish at times. And here we go, Beast Boy, and I believe there was one more female character whose name is escaping me at the moment. But Duplicate Boy, from this story for years and years and years, was dating Shrinking Violet from the Legion. And so this team actually features a few times over the years. They don't really... Beast Boy makes an appearance a few issues later, but most of the heroes from Lalor don't show up again until very late 60s, and then again in a few stories in the 70s, and then the Great Darkness. Like they're used sparingly, but they do get used over and over. Duplicate Boy especially does show up in a few stories because every so often he's with Shrinking Violet. Next up, and this will be the last one I'm going to do for this video, for this part, I am going to make it into 2, is Adventure Comics 326, and it's called The Revolt of the Girl Legionnaires. This was the last Supergirl cover from this run that I didn't have. And this story is funny. And it's very similar to another story they did about 3 to 5 years later, in a later book, but it's not completely the same. It's a slightly different. This one is more of a interesting way to get the things together, instead of the other way where they just got rid of it. Anyway, I hope that you could like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you like the books that I got so far. Yes, the majority, if not all of them, have been DC, but I did get other stuff, and there will be other stuff in the video from other companies, because I did buy a lot of books at this show. It's one of the three, I would call it's the major show I go to every year, and there are 2 what I call semi-major shows that I go to every year, and those 3 shows I buy the most books because they have the most vendors. Anyway, like, subscribe, comment below, hit the bell for notifications if you like it. I'd love to hear if you've read any of these stories and what you thought of them, or if you plan on, if you think that video idea I'm throwing out there is a good idea or not. I realize I do a lot of Superman Legion videos, but honestly, my collection is very Superman Legion heavy, and as a result, I do tend to know them very well. Anyway, my name is Matt, and I like comics, and I hope you do too.